Hey, 2D Foundations, let's talk about using your digital references to create your drawing. So if you've ever done the gridded transfer method, similar to what you see now on the screen with this elephant that has a grid on it and a grid next to it, you've done this before. But this might be a little bit more complicated than you're used to because your drawing has more in it. So I'm going to go step by step with mine on how to lay this out, and then I will show you bits and pieces of me working on my drawing until the end when it's all done. So the first thing that you need to know is you are going to be gridding out your paper with a line every inch, both vertically and horizontally. In my digital reference, my digital reference is horizontal. So I'm going to hold my sketchbook horizontal to create my actual drawing. My digital reference is 8.5 by 5.5, so I'm going to create a line every inch. So in my digital reference, you can see my inch mark starts all the way to the left. So I'm going to start in my drawing all the way to the left with my inch mark. And then there's this little ½ inch space over on the right. So I need to continue that on my paper. So I have a little mark that I'm going to make every inch super light. So I recommend using the lightest pencil in your kit to do this. Now I've marked the top, so I'm just going to slide my ruler down and mark the bottom. Drawing. Now I'm going to connect these lines just like they're connected on my screen. Now my lines are darker than yours should be. You should be able to see your lines, but someone sitting across a table from you should not be able to see your lines. That's how light they need to be, or else they're going to show up underneath your colored pencil work. I'm showing you how to draw this reference, so my lines are going to be darker due to the fact that this needs to translate over camera. Okay, so those are all my vertical lines. Now I'm going to do my horizontal lines. And just like before, I have a small section down at the bottom. That's going to be my ½ inch section and a full inch row at the top. So when I make my marks, I line my ruler up so that the edge of my ruler or the beginning of my measurement is at the perforation of my paper, and I'm going to make a mark every inch. I like to number my boxes so when I get here in the center it's not confusing. So the top I do the alphabet, so A, B. I do that on my digital reference as well. And then down the side I number it, so 1, 2. And then I do the same thing here on my digital reference. Okay, now that's done, I can start filling in my drawing box by box. So I'm going to look at my digital reference and I'm going to look at 1A because I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start in the top left-hand corner and work my way down to prevent smudging. So I look at 1A, and I can see I have a mountain, and I'm thinking about how high that mountain comes up. And then I have my letter. Now you can print this out and break these boxes down even farther. You can digitally break these boxes down even farther, but the goal here is replication. So you're using your grid lines to help you replicate what you see. So where does the B touch the grid line here and here? And how much of that little opening in the B is above the line and how much of it is below. So fill everything in that you see in your first box, everything, all the little details that you see like my little trees right here and right here, and then move on to the next box. So I'm moving on to my B1, and I'm going to add in that mountain range line, which actually kind of helps me place all of my letters. So then I would just keep going, filling this in, and then doing the next row and the next row and the next row. It is a slower process, but it allows you to get everything in there correctly. So I know that some of my students just kind of breeze through drawing and they have a knack for it, and can go ahead and fill in everything just very quickly and have things be proportionally correct. But this is a really great way to check to make sure everything is proportionally correct, because you have those grid lines there to help you to make sure that your lines are correct and the spacing is correct, and especially when it comes to people. So I have this gentleman over here in my G and H rows 1 and 2. So I know that in G2, his face is about 2/3 of the way down, comes out to about here, curves in, comes up. I'm ignoring his sunglasses right now and his hat. And then it angles back to his ear, which is here, and comes down, and then comes up into his hat. So I'm looking at the spacing that this line creates as it connects to my horizontal and vertical line, and making sure that triangle looks the same. Making sure the angle of the hat would, if that line continues, touches the right spot. I'm creating a bounding box for his sunglasses. Going box by box is really the way that you're going to get this done more proportionally correct. Now you might find that, oh my gosh, some of my objects are in front of things that I need to draw. So in my landscape in the background, I don't see most of the landscape because of the gentleman that I'm drawing. So what I can do easily is I can click on that object or that photo, and I can right click on it, order, send it to the back, and now I can draw everything else that's in my landscape. And when I'm ready to have him come back to the forefront, I can click on my background, order, let's try that again, click on the background, right click, order, and then send that to the back, and that picture will come forward again. So these are just tips and tricks that you are going to want to use to help you replicate your drawing from your digital reference to your paper.
Now, my drawing is quite complicated with a lot of elements. Your drawing does not have to be this complicated. It was my choice to do this. You can choose to make something more simple and on level with your drawing skill and preferences. Remember the past images that you have seen of different artists' artwork and how simple or complicated they were. Choose something that suits your style and your message.